проверили, все убрали уже. Да, все убрали, работает. Понял? Ты можешь, по идее, маленькую свободу ставить.
Уважаемые коллеги, скоро начнем.
Dear colleagues, we are going to start soon, only 5 minutes. We are going to wait for a little bit more.
Уважаемые коллеги,
Dear colleagues, today our session is devoted to the topic of intellectual property as business development tool, and we are starting. I'm going to tell about our speakers of this session. These are Sergei Morozov. He is a deputy and member of the State Duma of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation and first deputy chairperson of the Committee in Regional Policy and Local Government. The next speaker is Marat Hafizov. He is the deputy director of Universal Blockchain IT Corporation. And the representative from the Emirates, he is online. He is a representative of Continental Group, Sheikh Al-Marah Mansouri. He is representative in Russia. The next speaker is Saida Petrova. The moderator of this session is Oleg Dichenko. He is a vice president of Business Union of Experts in Business Intellectual Assistance. Their organizers are from the Republic of Bashkortostan, Bashkortostan Regional Department, Delovaya Россия, LLC, the representative of Ministry and the representative of Delovaya Россия, LLC. And today our session is going to be held as some kind of discussion. We are going to discuss all of the questions considering intellectual property. And the first thing that I would like to mention is that I'm really glad to have you here in this hall and to have this opportunity to attract these investitions, and it plays an important role in our economy. In the century when the economics is related to the intellectual property, it's one of the main assets on the market. And the first part of our discussion is going to be devoted to the analytics of how we use intellectual property in the Republic of Bashkortostan in Russia and abroad. I think a lot of people know that non-material properties are a product of some kind of experiments and licenses, for example, licenses on also software, databases, and resources and professional knowledge. These are the basics of any economical systems. This is going to explain why we should count all these non-material properties and assets. And also we need to analyze the current situation with the material assets. So we're going to get a look at the statistics of usage of material assets in Republic of Bashkortostan and abroad. And and we are going to see which of the brands and forms of intellectual properties are used. We need to pay attention to the analysis of the strategic usage of these non-material assets. And in turn, it also develops the economy of Bashkortostan and Russian Federation in general. For example, we have analyzed 12 big enterprises in the Republic of Bashkortostan, and as for the non-material properties, the sum is 5 billion, 4 million. The sum is not that substantial, and these assets are shown is and they are a current market price. This means that after reevaluation of these non-material properties can be can become even bigger, which not only underlines this price of these assets, but also it shows that this evaluation is really important. The growth of such assets is going to be related to the region's growth and competition. As for the questions of non-material assets, what is the current situation in the Russian Federation? We have the intellectual property is currently 1% of all the Russian enterprises, and if we take a look at 1 millions of Russian Federation's company in 2022, only 52,000 have which is only 1 and 1.2% of the fund of this intellectual property of these companies. And if we speak about the only 5.8 have told about their involvement. I would also like to mention that these research works are involved, which is 39% of all the enterprises with research works. Only 26%, which is and if we take a look at analytics, we can say that a lot of companies with intellectual property are in sales. So 26% of non-material properties and 21% and 13% in technical activities. And if we speak about the biggest technopark, which is Kolkovo in Russia, the main thing for more than 3,000 residents of this technopark is to be able to make intellectual property and the regulations. This is why we have this Kolkovo, which is a department. They have more than 500 startups and big Russian corporations like Gazprom, Samsung, Sber, and Rostelecom. This is why, thanks to this analysis, we can say that we see the trends, the tendency that people are going to save their intellectual property. And if we take a look at intellectual property abroad, we see that in the USA, the correlation is we've seen 15 enterprises, which are the biggest in the USA. We see that 93% is going to this intellectual property, which probably we can say is alike the properties, the enterprises price. Also, it's in 93% as a leader. And also in Germany, we see that it's a little less, it's 80%, and 71 in such countries as Canada. In Canada, it's only 78, and in Saudi Arabia, this correlation is only 72% of all the general price of this business, which is non-material. For example, if we talk about the Saudi Arabia going up in the rating, it's related to the IP of Saudi Aramco. So IPO was the priciest company, public company in the world. As we see, dear colleagues, we see that non-material assets are the thing which gives us the idea on how we are going to measure the company. For example, Apple in 2022 was the leader in non-material properties. So now it's 2 billions. This is
Microsoft is 1 trillion, over $300 billion worth, which is still less than Saudi Aramco. Today, I would like to stress that non-tangible assets in the economic development and the potential development found including in the Republic of Bashkortostan in Russia is vast, and it can still multiply. If we speak about the immediate topic of our today's session, namely the intellectual property, I would like to give the floor to our next speaker. We would like to talk about the investment and traction through non-tangible assets. We would like to give the floor to Mr. Hafizov.
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you very much for inviting me in this session. Every discussion which is held under the interesting topic is going to result in very good results. And today we're going to speak about general Russian topic which is discussed a lot, and solution of these questions. I think it's important for all Russia. I'd like to say that this tendency on Russian market is that we don't only have Russian companies, for example, companies which have resources and companies which have non-tangible assets, unlike Western companies that have a lot of intellectual property and they have also have non-tangible assets. They can involve real investments to develop their businesses and to develop their non-tangible assets on the basis of the assets that they have already. In 95 or 97% of this NTA, they are shown how they were shown 10 or 12 years ago. For example, if we have an oil company which has this license, this is the main regulation, which is also an NTA, which gives an regulation for getting all the resources they need. So the NTAs are also the license audition, and it's going to be implemented. It's going to be shown in this balance. So, for example, it's 25 million rubles. This is the same thing with the IT companies. For example, we cannot see it, but sometimes we can see it in the fund of labor and and the price of the software is going to be shown as is. But if we see this factual analysis, we see the other prices. The evaluation, the further evaluation of non-tangible assets is not going to be used, and if we use this NTA for attracting investors for developing the business and NTA, we don't have this opportunity anymore. As the previous speaker has said, you need to remember Saudi Aramco. If we analyze this company by the history of its development, at some moment they have the government has become an investor, and it had 98% of resources, and this is the same license as in any other country, and this company has made an capitalization, but they have the same taxes codex. So it's not, it can't be received as tangible assets when it's not get yet. So this is why it's not in NCA. So Saudi Aramco has made a capitalization, and then they have made another capitalization and made 1.5% of their assets shares. And so the second on the second day, on the next day, they have so they became even more pricey, and they were $2 billion. So the market has approved their capitalization. So this non-NTA were approached the same as we did. So it's not like a document or a subject. They approach it as a regulation to use this NTA. So this regulation and this right to use this NTA is going to be shown in the capitalization. So the previous topic is
if an NTA is expensive, it means that the company owns something special, something valuable, something that will bring profit in the future. Often, an expensive NTA is a competition advantage. In the global practice, there is an index, it's S&P index. This S&P index includes 500 largest companies with expensive shares. And in 2019, the NTA got expensive by 10% or over $10 billion, because 90% of the assets of such companies are non-tangible. Sorry, I mixed up my slides. Why can't we do this? We have certain challenges, certain problems. Investors in Russia face difficulties in assessing their NTAs. They have troubles analyzing it in comparison to their tangible assets or shares that are already marketed in the stock market. Also, another problem is that the fact that many researchers, scientists, or international auditors say that the Russian Federation does not have an active NTA market. It means that the market has troubles marketing, selling, or turning over non-tangible assets. Our central bank has an order, has a direction on how to market an NTA. Based on all the research, all the work, all the previous experience, we concluded as follows. We need to adopt a strategy, including bookkeeping, legal, and other tools to secure NTA. We need to treat an NTA not as an object, but as the title to use a tool. We want NTAs to have a fair market price. When we are talking about the market price, it should be integrated into the Russian bookkeeping system, bookkeeping practice. We introduced registers that keep balances of assets and keep track of their expansion. We can form a financial tool. It can be a classical tool like securities, or a new tool such as digital securities or hybrid tools. That's when assets are bound with a digital signature. These financial tools, either classical or digital, are more preferable. It's a pledge tool for domestic or international investors, for credit organizations, for banks. This way we will be able to capitalize our profit through NTA and attract investments to the development of our own businesses. We created an independent digital platform that automates all the movements required by the procedures. We quickly achieve the biggest positive results through the adoption of these tools. When we assess or reassess NTA, the company gains the right to form both classical and digital financial tools. Why do we need to adopt new approaches to accounting NTAs? We need to see the fact that companies misuse or use ineffectively their assets, because the title to use a technology or to use a resource is valuable. I want to take you back in time. In fact, NTA used to be an expense for a company, and it didn't reflect the market price of NTA. If we undertake an approach of seeing NTA as an actual valuable asset, the company's profit, company's cost grows, the investment attraction of the company grows, the securities of the company gain more expensive. NTA becomes an opportunity for potential investors. And NTA is no longer a dead weight, but insurance for the investors' risks. There are global examples of such approaches. Tesla is a company that is based on capitalization of NTAs. They guard their NTAs, they protect their NTAs, and use it as the foundation for future profit. And they maintain the turnover in their companies by means of NTAs. This way, intellectual property becomes a source of commerce. We have successful examples of this in Russia. Let's take Gazprom, for example. There is a small oil company which has an NTA, which is a license to develop formations. This license indicates the term within which the formation development is allowed and how much time they have to actually produce the certain amount of oil. This license also has a license agreement attached to it, issued by the mining authority. These three documents are NTAs that confirm the company's basis of business, the legal entity's essence. And based on this NTA, they financially develop, grow, and expand. if we assess these titles, these rights, and use it with our innovative approach within a small oil company, for example, 2 to 6 billion rubles is the financial potential of such approach, because it's a pledge tool for investors. Investors can rely on this pledge and secure the risks. Because an investment is something that a small oil company needs, because to drill a well, it is actually takes 1 to 1.5 billion rubles. I can give you another example. An IT company. They had an ANTA being the result of the intellectual work. They had a strategical financial plan for a certain segment of the market. They had calculated their prospective turnover. They had the comparative analysis of the market they are operating in. And using the technical expertise that explained what they need to improve, we managed to form the fair market price of their intellectual property. And the turnover of the company grew by 1.8 billion rubles a year. For investors, it's a certain financial tool, a pledge tool. And it's a reason for them to enter an IT company as an investor. And the company also, thanks to this NTA, managed to pay back the investments and to ensure the payoff, the return of investments. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to tell everything I want to tell, but 18 months ago, the Ministry of Justice of the Russian Federation found the money, and using the notary's office, you can patent your know-how in the cloud storage, governmental cloud storage. I know that very few people use it, and it was introduced just 18 months ago. And in comparison to other countries in Russia, this service is quite cheap. But we really want people to get used to it. And it's a governmental protection, governmentally ensured, guaranteed security. Later, I would like to tell you, to give you a scene. There are companies that have 5 years worth of investments for hardware and software complexes, and thanks to, but if the company is invested in portions, they show very slow growth, and they are on the verge of bankruptcy because they don't have this one-time money inflow. They are on the verge of bankruptcy, but if they use our financial tool, if they undertake our approach, if they capitalize their NTAs, if they secure their know-hows, the capitalization of the company will grow, keep growing slowly, but it will. And it will confirm, it will establish its reliance, its reliability, its feasibility. Because if we face a challenge, we need to figure out the way out, how to respond to this challenge. If we take the regional scale, the Republic of Bashkortostan can consolidate a lot leading and promising startups. The Republic can form an investment funnel. They will be able to register know-hows or ANTAs in the territory of the Republic of Bashkortostan, which will favorably affect the investment climate of the region. It will provide extra job opportunities. It will expand the budget thanks to extra taxes and duties. And an active NTA market in Bashkortostan can encourage the national scaling. And certain startup from Bashkortostan can actually take over Skolkovo or other innovative enterprises. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please keep them to yourself yet. In the end of the session, we will give you an opportunity to ask your questions. I would like to give the floor to the new speaker. He will talk about attracting investments to a startup of acting enterprises on the example of UAE company. We have Mr. Damaratsky speaking from the United Arab Emirates. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Can you hear me well? Yes, we can hear you very well. Good afternoon. I'm glad to see you. Thanks to the invitation and the opportunity to take part in your event. I am limited in time. That's why I would like to stick to the timing and use my 15 minutes to share my vision of the introduction of investments to the IT projects and intellectual property projects. Intellectual property now is the key factor. And it has been said before. We live in the era of knowledge. And increasingly more things depend on the knowledge and information and data. And if you have a unique idea, it can become the drive for your enterprise. And that's why when we assess property value for investment projects, we see the increasing interest for intellectual property worth. A potential investor wants the innovation to be secured and protected. They want to see that there is a system, that there is a security system, protection system for the intellectual property of the project. Also, they want this technology to be competitive. And they want to see the exclusive right to use this intellectual property within the project. They don't want these assets to be stolen. Also, they want to see the opportunity for commercializing the assets. Because the value of the asset of the NTA can be transformed into funds, into money. They can be transformed into products and services. That's why the intellectual property, the worthwhile intellectual property, can significantly increase the value of the company. Investors realize that the intellectual property bears risks, such as violation of the title or rights or theft. That's why it's important to take the legal factor into account as well. And based on these factors, the investor decides whether or not to invest in your project. Intellectual property is an integral part of any contemporary business, and the business community realizes that it is important to know how to manage your intellectual property. Investment projects, which has the clear strategy of innovation protection and capitalization, is the project destined to succeed. We have a new technology of investment structures through intellectual property. We use it in our work in the United Arab Emirates. It's our exclusive legal product for investment business projects. Intellectual property shares is the concept of our project. This project is acceptable in 180 countries. And it can scale over any region of the Russian Federation. This product was released on the market to create the foundation for investment and business development, for startups particularly, or for any company that is looking for external investments. This product can be interesting for people who want to attract many investors. Sometimes for a company it's not profitable to release an IPO. And it's not very profitable and wise and effective to include many people into the founders list or the board of directors list. But our product can balance this problem out. If you want to have the legal foundation for your project, for the protection of your intellectual property, our product is meant for you. Intellectual property allows to legally sell non-tangible assets. This technology helps to attract money very quickly. And I want to stress that this product is based on the exclusive and innovative methodology. In our company, our center is the part of the large consortium. Our key business is investment attraction in the United Arab Emirates. We have direct access to investors. We have 17 types of investors.
On the market, in the sphere of attraction of investments, we have 21 investments agreements, $50 million, and this general is $500 million, and some of the projects we enter with our own money, for example, when we just form our portfolio, but we also can finance our project up to 80%. We also undertake this analysis about which we have been talking before, and we have this IP rating of a business project with the relation to NTA. As an example of successful cases, I can tell you that due to this non-tangible assets, we have this MBA Pay, vocal school, and some other projects, and one of the successful cases has increased our project by 10%, and we used our assets prices, and the capitalization has been increased to $8 billion USA, and this is one of the biggest company capitalization-wise in the Arab Emirates. This is what has led us the investing in our projects. So now we have a lot of investors which are waiting for this investigation projects because they want to get a big income. And I would also say that NTA is a good opportunity for us to work together because this is going to be a good collaboration, and it's going to be a very good opportunity, and the NTA is a key aspect in economic relationship because this innovation, development and growth is working to secure NTA, and in order to make a secured NTA, we need to make inventors feel safer when they invest. The next thing that we need to pay more attention to the NTA securitization. We also have two parties which are implementing new NTAs, and they participate in global development. And the third one is global cooperation. Russia and the Arabic Emirates work on NTA. This includes contracts, patents, and licenses. And as a conclusion, I would like to stress that NTA is an important element in investment, and also in collaboration between Russia and the Arab Emirates, and the securitization and monetization of the commercialization of all the work. Thank you, Maxim Domradsky. This was very interesting information, especially for the potential investors, and we also can apply this in practice in your companies and also in Russian Federation. This is why we are up to collaboration, and we would also like to discuss all these questions and use this experience, apply this experience to the Russian Federation too. Thank you very much for participating in our session. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So then, our next speaker is. Our next topic is making of intellectual property as a fundamental technology, and we have uh, Sergei Morozov, the member of State Duma Federal Assembly. So now I wouldn't like to tell you that we live in a very interesting and responsible era. So it's going to be a waste of time. But anyways, probably it's good that we have this. Anyway, we have this proverb, and we need to start making technology sovereignty and be technologically independent. And we also need to get away from this inefficient economy. But speaking about building a new model of development, we see that without the cooperation of science and production, and we also need to have more people in science and production. We can do it without it. On the governmental level, we've seen the dependency on the import, and it was a really bad realization because. So I wouldn't like to make the mood bad, but nowadays our situation is currently better. But anyways, we have more regulations, and I would also like to tell here about the changes in the regulations, in the measures of support of technology companies. But the first thing is that the concept of development, economical development of the countries is that you need to read that if you want to realize what kind of thing we are building, what kind of country we are building, we have this really objectively and not always well written and shown because of the tendencies in the throughout the world. But anyways, this is true. At least this is true. And the second thing I would like to draw your attention to, for all the people that worry about our country tomorrow, take a look at our active discussion on initiative, on legislation initiative. This is a draft. This is currently a draft on technological policy. It's a very interesting document, and it's really important for us to the conception and this draft and all of the other documents were complied in compliance and in development. I think here we understand pretty much everything. We have established also 10 collateral directions which are related to new technologies, and we invest a lot. I'm talking about, for example, AI and biotechnologies and a lot of other things, a lot of other directions. There are a lot, and we have established about 16 priority ways. It's workshop making and aviation, space exploration, etc. Well, all of the things which has always been the basis of our economy. Well, at least before the 1990s and 2000s, when we only developed the land, and thanks to it we have lived. But once again, if we can make together the technology and the knowledge without the human, so we have made a decision make this project. Choose your local. So this 23rd law, which is telling us to use local things. We didn't stray away from any regulations, and we didn't make anything new things. For example, in the USA, they have a series of laws which tell them to buy local produced things. I didn't want to draw your attention to the regulations about. So they just said that their local products are a priority, but we wanted to make it lightly, and we said that established that our local is priority, and this is why we came back to local prioritism, because as you know, previously if we went to the shop or going to some kind of enterprise, we just looked at not our local but at the foreign made things, because our local things were not produced good. But nowadays it has changed significantly, and we have also changed our attitude and the government. But also, for the third time already, we can't make it without the people. So we have made the decision to get back to our previous days. For example, when we have a space, we had a big the space development, and we need to support our scientific approach, and we need to rebuild our institutions, and we need to support all of the organizations and do many more things, which are the basis of this technological breakthrough. I would also like to mention that this is the first time probably you hear it, but in Russian Federation, in Russia, there was an example of some communities, geography community, history community, military history community, and the Russian technical imperial community, in which there were included some of the scientists and thinkers and scholars. And I think we gave the life to the Nobel Committee. I think people don't know that the Nobel brothers are the citizens of Russian imperial years. Was before a revolution, but now we have made the decision to once again make this technical community, and we are going to tell it to the President of the Russian Federation, so he can support us. We have made a decision by looking at the experience in Soviet Union when the technical innovations were written down in the constitution, and the laws of the Soviet Union and the support measures. And we saw this, that you invent, you rationalize, and then you commercialize, and you get all the financial benefits. This is how it worked, but nowadays we don't have it. So we have made a draft on rationalization and the creativity in our Russian Federation, but it's just a draft. as I mentioned, but we've sent it to all the regions in Russian Federation for all the people who worry about our country could give us some feedback. And now we have made a decision to launch a series of amendments to the legislation, for example, on commercial organizations, because, for example, today in inventing a community, they can't get all the support measures which all other non-commercial organizations use. I think this is really strange because like why technical organizations can use it. So we're going to change it drastically. We have made a decision to launch the juridical definition of non-commercial technical organizations, and we have made a decision to make an element of this hierarchy which is related to the inventing and the realizations. And for example, in Kirov area, we have launched the project of special class of special form in order to make our kids to be able to invest and commercialize from it. I think they are going to make a lot of great inventions. It's just we haven't given them good opportunities. And if we give them the opportunities, it's going to be all right. We have made this decision and we launched this initiative. It's called Technical and Creative Initiative, and we are going to support it organizationally and financially and also juridically. And also I think that is really important today when we are changing the legislation to launch an institution because it's necessary. It's an institution of authorized rights of inventors. A lot of rights are violated on the enterprises. So you invent something, but it's not guaranteed that the person from the enterprise is going to register this patent on themselves. And I think we need to secure our people in this topic. I also think in Bashkortostan we have a lot of interesting things. For example, I saw a lot of inventors. I saw a lot of interesting ideas, and I drew my attention to a lot of things. For example, I saw inventors. Yesterday, I saw an inventor, Anatoly Zhukov. He has invented more than 10 planes. They were small, so you can't use it to fly. But anyways, he is paying the transportation taxes. It's really unfair, I'd say. So I'm going to speak to Radi Khabirov about it, and we're going to get some of the documents to Moscow in order to make drastic changes. So to conclude, I'd like to say that if someone hasn't been to Moscow's VDNH exposition, you need to go there to see it. You'll see a lot of technological inventions, and there are a lot of things, and you can get the idea on which country we are going to make from it. Me personally, I believe in it, and also I believe in the project Choose Your Local, and this is what we are going to fulfill here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have such a substantial and engaging report speaking about the sovereign nature of business and speaking about the independence. It's very topical for the Russian Federation. Thank you very much, Mr. Morozov, for your contribution. I would like to give the floor to the next speaker, Vice President of Non-Commercial Association, Saida Petrova. She's going to talk about non-tangible assets as a tool of anti-crisis management. You are having the floor. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, dear friends. I am very delighted to be here today. NTAs are an interesting economic sector. For a long time, our country was ignoring it. And I would like to support everything that the previous speaker said. We should have started this long before. Of course, we had some successes, we have had some challenges, ups and downs, but to be fair, non-tangible assets is not a simple, ordinary object. And we can keep arguing about the record-keeping systems, but being an economist, I must say that there are many advantages to the traditional bookkeeping system, and a lot of systems benefit from it, including the taxation. Our country generally has a very traditional expense-based bookkeeping system. NTA, as a product of intellectual activity, cannot exist in a different way because it should be entered into the balance sheet as an expense. And if you keep records of your non-tangible assets, they should enter your balance sheet as an expense. But this system is transforming because the progression of time makes us do so. As of January 1st, 2024, we will have the new federal law of the bookkeeping. The number of the law is 1422, and this law will have 3 sections covering extraordinary non-standard deals. As the previous speaker said, everyone knows that the time is changing and the infrastructure is changing. The financial system is changing. The bookkeeping procedures are changing. And the bookkeeping of such assets should have a different approach. It's like an air castle, because you cannot touch it. It's an asset that has a non-financial part to it. How can you touch or experience a thought or an opportunity to use certain idea? How would you calculate? How would you assign it to anything? How would you describe it as a project? You need to understand that a thought, an idea can evolve. If you implement it in a certain way, it will look in a certain way and it will cost a certain amount of money. But if you use it differently, it will look differently and it will cost different amount of money. So if I want to give a name to it, I would say that it is the zero cycle. It is the bottom line, the ground cycle. The international financial report and statement system still has a few sections related to unusual non-standard deals. We call them non-standard deals. None of the standards is applicable. That the standards should be reworked. We need to develop the adequate, sufficient system of standards, and the system needs improvement. Tradition of forming NTAs is a relatively new one. We live, we evolve, we face the technological progress, and to be frank, by the moment when we faced this machinery invasion, when the data processing became so complicated and fast, we didn't expect this like 60 years before. The environment changed, the community changed, the property tradition changed, new products appeared, and the record-keeping system needs to respond to these changes. Legal framework also changes, and I guess that our legislation creators realize this. If we go deeper in the details, an authority undertakes and adopts regulations and rules and instructions, directions on how to manage and how to respond to the changes. It is very hard to transform a large and complicated system as a response to the new reality. It takes time. It is a slow process. That's why NTAs face many challenges besides expenses. Also, we have standardization divided into industries. Every industry has its own standardization system, and within each of the industry there are NTAs, and all of them need a customized approach within each of the industries, which makes it difficult to create the general all-purpose code or regulations. Okay, if we can't do that, maybe we should develop the checklist, the recommendations, the rules on how to approach such situations, on how to approach the formation and creation of such legal framework, because we need to provide the title holders with the capabilities and opportunities on how to register and secure their NTAs. Also, there is a problem that not often spoken about. NTAs, being extraordinary, have certain conditions to them. They cannot be sold or marketed like other assets because they have different parameters, different criteria. At any stock market or at the innovative market, they are a standalone phenomena with its own index, with its own coefficient, which we often ignore. It is Nasdaq index. This index was established to be able to clearly and simply assess, market, sell, and purchase NTAs. And we wanted to provide this opportunity to companies that specifically focus on innovations and inventions. It is an American index, and it is not applicable in Russia because our circumstances do not let us to. As it has been said before, we are bound by this situation, and we should have done this long time ago. Also, the criteria that we need to work out are related to the following thing. Our financial system is expenses-based, but in other countries it is income-based. So that's why any existing index doesn't suit us, because we approach profitability and feasibility differently. That's why we need the new system ourselves to develop again. We have not only peculiarities, but also hurdles. It is something that our colleagues have already told about. Now we are at the bottom line, at the ground cycle. And we need to analyze the experience that we are seeing now. And based on this, we need to assess what is the immediate profit, what is the potential profit, and how to generally approach the NTA management. We need to be able to predict the growth and development of a certain industry or a certain production cycle. Everything that I listed are different NTAs of different categories and different criteria. And the key problem here is that hurdles and obstacles arose here in the 1990s. In the early 1990s, I would say, after the Soviet Union collapsed, we noted that we don't have our own patent registration office. There are international institutions that you could apply to register your patent or invention. And after that, the author received a certain certificate and a certain promotion, and they could sell the inventions and commercialize them. And they could market their inventions at the specialized platform. The requirements of such institutions are strict, and you need to comply to these requirements. And if our patents failed to be registered with an international organization, we would have failed to market our inventions. And it was a limitation, the prohibition that we face in many other issues. In the Russian Empire, we added an independent community that was responsible for this zero cycle, for this ground cycle. Now this function was assigned to the Ministry of Science. And it sorted out the inventions. There was zeroing in on the projects that were promisingly profitable or feasible. And when the Soviet Union collapsed, we only could apply to an international authority to have our patents registered. And we ended up with a situation where we didn't have our own innovation infrastructure. And it shouldn't be just a single innovation platform. It should include the large, extensive ground cycle, which involved the preparation of the NTA before it's reevaluated and remarketed, and before it will start bringing profits. And such a ground cycle should be available for any enterprise. When they face challenges in securing their patent, should be able to apply somewhere. And I guess that an NTA should be viewed by enterprises as an opportunity to improve their economic status. It is profitable for an enterprise, and an NTA can be viewed as an independent full-scale asset of the company. Speaking about the opportunities for marketing and promoting an NTA market, 15-20 years ahead is the prospect, is the time frame that we have to create the sufficient legal framework and provide NTA with an opportunity to be assessed, promoted and marketed at international or national electronic trade platforms. To do that, we need to work out our own index that will be applied to the inventions. And this index should respond to the current economic situation but be independent from external factors. We need to learn. We need to improve the legal framework in a way that will make applications processing procedure quicker. We need to squeeze the time frame within which the patent is registered or the inventor registers their invention. Also, we have another asset which is peculiar. The title holder of this asset is the person who paid for all the expenses related to the development of this asset. So if you invested into the development of an asset of the NTA, you will be protected from title risks because proven expenses will secure your title. In order to overcome the hurdles, we need to realize it is one of the most complicated parts of the problem, because all other things are provided in a quite good level in the region. The infrastructure is very good, but the bureaucracy, the paperwork is very difficult and poorly developed in Russia. But it is the part that is significant. We cannot change it all at once, and we cannot make it all from scratch, but we can improve the existing framework. We need a tool that will make sure that this is our asset, this is our property, and I can use it in the way I want. We want to have our own system. So if you have any questions, please feel free. Thank you very much, Ms. Petrova.
Thank you, Saida Petrova. This was an interesting topic, and NTA in anti-crisis cases and suggestions on making your own indexes. It also tells us about the thing which Sergei Morozov has already told us, that we are going to be developing our economy further, and we are going to have this independency from our Western partners. Thank you very much again, and I'm going to get to the third part of our discussion, which is going to be a little bit conclusion, and we have this innovation and development of NTA in innovation processes. To conclude, I'd like to tell about the solutions on using the NTA and in the context of innovational processes. And the thing is, we are going to make a dynamical, fluctuating market, which is going to develop our market further, and it's going to get us the safety in innovational processes. And the development of such a market is going to take us working together, and the development of institutions. And the main the main task is to make NTAs important in the Republic of Bashkortostan, and making the development of the marketing system and making it competitive on the international level. And also it's going to attract more investors and make innovational processes faster, and make the financial situation better in the region. So we are going to propose to the government of the Republic of Bashkortostan to localize a specialized corporation of non-NTA, which is going to be kind of a distributor of securitization of these NTAs, which is going to allow us not only to digitalize some of the biggest companies in Russian Federation, but also to make the Republic of Bashkortostan the point of attracting big assets, which is going to give us new opportunities of developing the economy of region, and give us digital platforms in the Republic of Bashkortostan, and to ensure the potential, and to go to the universal market and bring new investitions. And we're going to have this good media and to attract more capitals, Russian and foreign. And we're going to get this better economical situation. So these are the speakers of our today's discussion. We are going to sign this this contract, and we're going to and I would also like to give the floor to Zubair Saidovich. So I'd like to express my gratitude to all of the representatives of the Republic and all of the speakers in the discussion. So in Russia, we treat especially this innovation patent and this NTA development. And so the speakers today have said that the capitalization is up to 70 or 90% are on the NTA NTA part, and this is thanks to the fact that we are developing the securities market, and and I would also like to stress that we need to make our own indexes with the countries which are our partners and to attract more capital. And I would like to give really fresh case which has happened less than a month ago. So in Russia there was held an IPO. So it was made by Linux, which is an innovational like it makes software systems which is going to come after Microsoft. It was like 300 for a security, but now it has risen to 500 rubles per one security for one share. So now it's 70 billion rubles in cost of this enterprise. This is how the investors perceive this price of this NTAs and the security of the NTAs, and so we believe in it, and we value this direction of development, and this is really important for us to get new, because it is a new opportunity to get new resources to develop the companies and banks and also our own development, and this is why I suggest you to support this resolution. Thank you, Sergei Morozov, for your good for your notice. For example, now we have in Bashkortostan now we have this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zubairov. Thank you for giving the examples of our domestic experience of commercializing NTAs, and thank you for introducing the scale of this commercialization. And this is exactly what we've been talking about. It's an additional resource. And I guess what we talked about is that we need to create tools, digital tools, that will provide companies with an extra income. The after tomorrow concept includes that this can become a pledge tool. Dear colleagues, I would like to conclude on our session. I guess we wrapped it up. And based on the reports that we heard, that we listened to, if you have any questions to our speakers, please feel free. These questions can be answered. Dear colleagues, do we have any questions in the audience? I don't see that there is any question. That's why I would like to take the initiative myself. I would like to ask the question to Mr. Hafizov. In terms of your report, my question is as follows. What are the basis and foundation for NTA market? Thank you very much for your question. Answering your question, I would like to cite some things that I heard from Mr. Anatoly Aksakov, the Member of Parliament. He's one of the co-authors of 259 federal law on digital assets. And he said that in the Russian Federation now there are 10 operators of information systems, OIS. There are 75 or 76, if I'm not mistaken, crowdfunding platforms. They are all Russian. They involve digital assets that are legal, and the part of these digital assets are confirmed by the NTA title use. Last week we had Phenopolis. There we witnessed experimental models of solution creation. this platform released 36 billion rubles worth digital assets. Over the year, this sum should grow by 50%, by 50 billion. And next year, it should double. There are various digital tools supported by the legal framework, by the central regulatory authorities, and these platforms are designed to launch the market, the active NTA market. That's why I believe that the previous speakers were right. Russia is moving towards this idea, and this movement is very rapid. And eventually we will end up with a situation when we can say that operators of information systems and crowdfunding platforms are thriving, and they are at the same level as alike tools are in different countries such as the United Arab Emirates. Now we are working on the consolidation of the processes, and we are actually aspiring the NTA market. And I'm looking forward to this next generation approach to view NTA not as an expense. So, to wrap it up, we are talking about the market price of the NTA, right? Ms. Petrova will correct me if I am wrong, but no, you're right. You're right. The market price is established when an asset has already entered the stock market. And in this case, the NTA can be assessed by business from this point of view, but some NTAs, some non-tangible assets, such as software, are not accessible with a comparative analysis, because even if they're already on the market, they are listed and they are evaluated based on the number of purchases. But I still believe in the rapid development of the NTA market, and I really believe in this industry. Thank you. We have 2 minutes left. Please share your opinion. Yeah, the market will develop, and this market will result in the market price of the NTA. And this market will facilitate the transformation of how we view the asset. For if software is marketed well, if it is constantly used, if the state, the government uses a software developed by a certain company, the difference in the expense as an NTA is zero. It is a very serious but non-valued asset. If you consider NTA as your asset, not your expense, then you need to realize the risks that investor bears. If we view certain deals as non-standard deals, when this deal involves NTAs, we will be able to perceive these deals as a part of the market. And if we perceive it through the market, it will result in the market price. And that's why I will be able to establish the price at which I want to sell my NTA. For example, if I'm made an offer and I don't accept this offer, I won't sell my product, my asset. But if I accept the price, then this asset can be marketed. So we need to establish the nominal price first. And when a product or an asset is sold, under contractual agreements, contractual conditions, it will result in the market price because the asset is resold. And the market price is strongly regulated by the auction, the bidding process. Thank you very much for your contribution. We've had a really great discussion. I hope that everyone enjoyed it. And if you have any question, we can answer them off stage. We have an audience question, right? Please introduce yourself. I am the commercial officer of oil gas. My name is Olga, and my question is as follows. Which is the real term for the legal framework to appear, and this legal framework would regulate the cost of the value of NTA? Can you repeat your question again, please? Within which term is it practically possible to form the legal framework that would regulate the evaluation of NTAs? We have a very short planning horizon, and we will establish this term as a response to the challenges that we'll face, and I guess it should not exceed 3 years. Over the 2022, we adopted a list of legal framework, legal documents for laws and concepts that will support intellectual property and the development of technological independence. By the end of the year, another range of legal documents will be adopted. So if we see the demand for this legal framework and NTA legal framework, we know that on the global market, the NTA share on the market has grown by 33%. So if there is a demand for such suggestions, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to share them today. And I will start working on them as soon as possible because it is something I'm responsible for. I am in charge of the law bill preparation related to technological independence. Well, I guess it is a very important thing. Thank you, Mr. Morozov, for pointing this out. It is actually very valuable that you are so responsive to the suggestions in terms of the legal documents in demand. Dear colleagues, we have one more question from the audience. Please use your microphone. I am from Moscow. Mr. Morozov, I have a question to you, or maybe any other speaker would answer. What types of intellectual property will help the company out of bankruptcy? Ms. Petrova, can you answer the question? If you're on the verge of bankruptcy, the first thing to do is to check if you have any insolvency criteria. Normally, it takes 2 times by 3 months to determine if you have any criteria of insolvency. If you have any insolvency parameters, you can take a look what you have. Maybe you have some transportation method. Maybe you have some route. Maybe you have some logistic chain in mind. It depends on what your company's business is. You can establish it as an NTA. You can get the business idea, the patent, and you enter in your balance sheet. And it should be the price established at your own discretion. When you entered NTA as an expense, you have an expense at your balance sheet. But if you registered it as a patent, you can assign a price to it. And for example, your expense was 3 million rubles. In order to give yourself time, you can evaluate NTA as 5 million rubles, and this way you will lose this insolvency criteria, and no taxation authority will issue a claim against you. Because when you enter NTA as your income, any insolvency or bankruptcy procedure will be deemed invalid. because if someone wants to claim your bankruptcy, it means that they are trying to raid your company. And if a raid attempt is registered, you will be issued the protection and security certificate. And I have these examples in my practice. Feel free to use this instrument. Thank you. Dear colleagues, I would like to express my gratitude to your participation. Thank you so much for being a part of the discussion on the intellectual property as the business development tool. Thank you for your time. And I guess the information that you've provided to our audience will be valuable for them and will be used by them in practice in their businesses, in your companies. Thank you very much. Today, the session should be deemed finished.
Да.